Welcome into the Lakers Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Senior. We'll get you caught up on everything going down on the Lakers head coaching search, as it looks as though they're down to these three finalists to my right. So with that, I ask you this question. If you're Rob Pelinka, if you're Lakers ownership, and you could pick one head coach to be the next head coach of this historic franchise, who are you going with? TS for Terry Stotts, DH for Darvin Ham, KA for Kenny Atkinson. Let me know in the comment section right now. Appreciate all of you for making the Lakers Report a part of your day. I am your host, Chase Senior. On today's show, we're ranking the Lakers head coaching finalists from 3 down to 1. And here are the reported finalists who are going to replace Frank Vogel. We're looking at Darvin Ham of the Milwaukee Bucks, Terry Stotts, former head coach for the Portland Trail Blazers, Kenny Atkinson, the former head coach of the Brooklyn Nets, now the lead assistant for head coach Steve Kerr. And all three candidates are meeting with the Lakers brass in Los Angeles for the next in-person stage this week. So we are coming down to a situation where the Los Angeles Lakers are honing in their search on these three candidates, and the decision is going to be made over the next several days as to who is going to replace Frank Vogel to be the next head coach for the Los Angeles Lakers to try to get them back to the promised land, leading them with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Shams Charania on this report about the Lakers head coaching vacancy and their ongoing search. The Lakers have interviewed a total of 6 candidates, including Bucks assistant Charles Lee, Raptors assistant Adrian Griffin, and former Warriors coach Mark Jackson. Lee and Griffin have not been ruled out as options as part of the process, sources said. And I think it's really good for the Lakers to cast a wide net. They're looking at young up-and-coming coaches who have fielded some interviews in the past with NBA organizations. And they're going with greener coaches who are under the radar targets. And they're also looking at some veteran signal callers, which I think is also smart. You got to get this hire right. It is a pivotal decision for the Los Angeles Lakers to hone in on and pinpoint, because this is LA that we're talking about. 17 NBA championships, and over the last 10 years, they've mostly been a down franchise, only making it past the first round in the NBA playoffs once, and that came in the NBA bubble. So there's pressure on this next head coach to get it right, and there's pressure on the front office to pick the right guy to get the Lakers back to where this fan base expects them to be, which is competing for NBA championships year in and year out, something the Lakers had not been able to do over the last decade. Now, nearly 75% of you who are watching this show right now are not subscribed to the channel, which is really unfortunate. So make sure you subscribe to the channel if you love the Los Angeles Lakers, and if you want videos almost every single day. Myself, producer Sam Brown, we've been grinding, we've been hustling to pump out some really good Lakers content covering free agent targets, the head coaching search, all of the latest news and rumors. We cover breaking news as well. We continue to grow like crazy because of all of you and your support, but we need more subscribers if you want more videos, so make sure you hit that red subscribe button down below or go to youtube.com/LakersTV. Now, we talked about the 3 finalists for sure, but what would happen if all 3 of those finalists meet with the Lakers and they say, you know what? I don't like where this organization is trending. I'm out. I'm pulling myself out of the running for this gig. So in case of an emergency, who would the Lakers pivot to next? A nice little list for you here. Number 1, Mark Jackson, former head coach for the Golden State Warriors. We're getting to a situation where, is Mark Jackson ever going to get another shot to be a head coach of an NBA team? He's been a really good analyst for a long time on ESPN, and I appreciate his basketball acumen, his basketball smarts. When he was with the Warriors in the early days of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, won a bunch of games, but the Warriors had failed to make deep runs in the NBA playoffs. But in the regular season, in the playoffs, there were certainly some really good moments for Mark Jackson. And when he was let go and replaced by Steve Kerr, I don't think anybody anticipated that all these years later, Mark Jackson would never get another head coaching job. That situation, that's become a reality for him. Did you want Mark Jackson as a head coach? And do you still want him as a head coach? Type Y for yes, N for no. I'm fielding all of your responses in the comment section right now. Emergency candidate number 2. Adrian Griffin, assistant coach with the Toronto Raptors. Now, Nick Nurse, in my opinion, one of the best coaches in the NBA. And his coaching tree is becoming pretty impressive, pretty vast, and pretty deep. I love the way that the Toronto Raptors carry themselves as an organization. They hone in on player development. They do a really good job of identifying basketball players who they can plug into their system and get better over time. They've become a destination led by Nick Nurse and Masai Ujiri, and they become a place where they're developing some really good coaches in the NBA, and I think Adrian Griffin is the next one. The Toronto tree, it's a win for me. Good culture, good player development, really good playoff outings. Adrian Griffin has been a part of that. At number 3, the other Milwaukee Bucks assistant outside of Darvin Ham, who the Lakers were reportedly also interested in. Now, Charles Lee, I think it's only a matter of time for him. Mike Budenholzer's coaching tree has also been very, very impressive too. And his list of guys who he's been able to develop in terms of his coaching tree, very, very impressive. Charles Lee is the next. At number 4, Quinn Snyder. Now, as of now, he's still the head coach for the Utah Jazz. But we don't know what the Utah Jazz are going to do. Are they going to trade away Donovan Mitchell and or Rudy Gobert? Are they going to hit the reset button, trade those players away, get some young assets back, maybe some picks? And if that's the case, does Quinn Snyder, who has helped lead the Jazz to the playoffs almost every single year in the near decade that he's been the head man with the Utah Jazz, would he decide to want to leave? Maybe. And if that's the case, the Lakers should come a call-in. It looks like Quinn at this point is going to stay put, and the Utah Jazz are a really good and sound organization. He's really maximized the players on that roster over time, and they've been a good basketball team. They just have failed to make it out of the second round of the playoffs, but Quinn Snyder, man, he's done a terrific job as a head coach of Utah. At number 5, Sam Cassell, assistant coach with the Philadelphia 76ers. Look no further than the development that took place from year 1 to year 2 for Tyrese Maxey. Sam Cassell, a big part of that. He has a track record of developing guards with the Philadelphia 76ers and with the Los Angeles Clippers. And you can say what you want about Doc Rivers. I'm sure a lot of Laker fans would love to have Doc Rivers on this team right now, but Sam Cassell has been one of his lead assistants, and he's been credited with a lot of player development. And as a head coach, I think that is very, very important. Sam Cassell, number 5 on our emergency list for Lakers head coaching candidates. Now, summer, it's basically here if you're living in California, and if you're living other places across America, the warm weather months are here, and these hats, they'll do you good when it's warm. They'll do you good when it's cold as well, because they can keep your noggin warm. And there are a bunch of really good hat deals thanks to our friends at Fanatics. If you use that link at the bottom of your screen, chatsports.com/Lakers hats. Some of these hats available for up to 60% off. You can go dad hat style. You can go with the New Era fitted. You can go black hat, purple hat, whatever you want. It's available. Chatsports.com/Lakers. Lakers hats. Just use that link so that deals do apply for you. Now we're going to rank our Lakers head coaching hot board. These are the 3 finalists, and I want to rank them from 3 to 1, and then take a look at the pros and cons that come with hiring all of these candidates. At number 3, Terry Stotts, former head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers. The pros for hiring him. He by far has the most experience among these finalists. With the Blazers, made the playoffs 8 of 9 years, has a really strong offensive acumen, and worked really well with Damian Lillard. The cons of hiring him: only made the conference finals once back in that 2019 season. They got dusted by the Golden State Warriors. Wasn't the best with adjustments, which I think can get exposed throughout the course of a playoff series. He would need defensive assistance because his offensive acumen is his specialty. And have we seen his ceiling already? Has he maximized his coaching ability? Maybe. For me, I've always said this about Terry Stotts. He's never really moved the needle, in my opinion. He's like the offensive Frank Vogel. You're like, kind of a mundane hire, right? Frank Vogel, his specialty defense. Terry Stotts, his specialty is offense. I want somebody who's a little bit younger, a little bit more energetic, and for me, Terry Stotts doesn't fit that mold. What coach, though, would you prefer as the viewer? O for offensive, D for defensive guy? Let me know in the comment section right now. Coming in at number 2, and for me it's really close because I like Atkinson and I would think about hiring him. Kenny Atkinson, assistant coach with the Golden State Warriors. The pros for hiring him: he's a grinder. He's a hustler. He's known as a smart and tireless worker, demands respect in the locker room, which I think is really important, especially if you're coaching LeBron James and Anthony Davis. He developed players pretty well with the Brooklyn Nets and really instilled a culture, was really big into analytics and sports science, which I think nowadays is important, and I'm sure that's something that the Golden State Warriors use at their disposal as well. He's since coached with Steve Kerr and Tyronn Lue. Last year he was with the Clippers, and he came over to the Golden State Warriors. So adding that to his coaching resume, I think, does him wonders as well. The cons of hiring him: somewhat of an up-and-down tenure with the Brooklyn Nets. He can be a bit unyielding at times, has an unconventional style on the court with some of that analytical input, and is he the right guy for a guy like LeBron James and Anthony Davis? It's one of those questions you don't know the answer to until you actually hire that guy. Atkinson, for me, he's a quality ball coach. The Brooklyn Nets were not a desirable destination before he went there, and I think he helped turn them into a desirable destination. And actually, I think Brooklyn would have been better off if they kept him and they didn't hire Steve Nash. At number 1, Darvin Ham. I'm excited about the prospects of him being named the next Lakers head coach. LeBron James really wants it. He has familiarity with the Lakers organization. He was an assistant coach back several years ago. He's energetic. He played in the NBA, which earns him some chops with some NBA players, and he already knows the ropes of the NBA game as a coach because he's been doing that for a long time, as well as an NBA player. Because of that, he can relate with guys and earn some respect. And according to reports, he is the guy that LeBron James wants, which is why he's a leader in the clubhouse right now. Cons: I don't think there are many of them outside of the inexperience. He's got some unknowns as a rookie head coach. Shortest resume among the finalists, that's for sure. Strong all-around coach, but what exactly is his specialty? Versatility is good. I have it here at Chat Sports, and it proves me well. But sometimes people can look at being all-around and well-rounded as kind of being a weakness because you can't hone in on one specialty. He's coached stars, though. He can handle Los Angeles, in my opinion. He is bold. He is confident. He has a little bit of swagger. He's coached Giannis. He's coached some really good players with the Atlanta Hawks, and that Mike Budenholzer coaching tree, it's long, it's vast, it's deep, and it's impressive. So once more, I want to pose this question for the audience. Pick a head coach. If you're Rob Pelinka in this front office, who you riding with? TS for Terry Stotts, DH for Darvin Ham, KA for Kenny Atkinson. Let me know. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/LakersTV, or even easier, just hit that red subscribe button down below as we continue to push out videos almost every single day right here on the Lakers Report.